So we're here with Steve. What I've told them is that we're gonna do a question in English, and if you answer in English, that's okay. We're not gonna translate because we have short time. So we're gonna start right away with questions. First question, please.
Hi, it's Doug Smith of Toronto Star. Steve, are you surprised at the accelerated progress this young team has shown here so far?
Good question. I feel like this is what I envisioned. You know, there was moments when maybe I wasn't sure it was going to come along this crisply. You know, I think. Yeah, I thought this would be the curve. I mean, we had a timid game against Argentina, who were very good. Otherwise, we played well in Puerto Rico, and we've played well since. So, I don't think I'd even go as far as pleasantly surprised, but I've enjoyed the heck out of it for sure.
Thank you. Second question up here, front.
Steve, does that change your? I mean, not to get too far ahead of too far ahead of things, but I mean, you're in the semis. Presuming you can advance to Rio next year, does it change your outlook at what's possible 2016, or is 2020 still kind of the timeline you look for at this group? And I reference that, like Argentina, you know, they were very quickly up to their peak years after winning at FIBA Americas in 2001.
Yeah, I mean, but you could also make the argument that we beat that same Argentina team in '99, that were probably in a more similar state to our group. So they rose quickly, but they were really in some ways unlucky to not have gotten through instead of us that year. You know, I'm not saying we didn't deserve it or it wasn't our moment, but I think they got better as the tournament went on, and fortunately for us, we beat them in the first game. So we avoided the U.S. in the semifinal. But back to our squad, I think, you know, sky's the limit. Obviously, we have a tremendous amount of talent. We have great depth and balance. But again, it's always in the details. And I think the biggest thing this tournament for us is just continuing to grow, because we obviously, I think, on any night could beat anybody, but we could also get beat. Especially in a one-off like that. So it's going to be a new experience for our guys, an invaluable experience for them, and you know, I'm confident that they can pull through, but definitely you know, going to be an immensely difficult game for us.
Steve, right here, Fernando Tirado from ESPN. What would you consider would be a key for this stage in the tournament? Canada has all different players averaging double digits in minutes. Mexico has the two players with most minutes in the tournament, like with Ayon and Hernandez, and fresh legs with the youngest team in the tournament.
Well, I think, you know, it's in some ways the story of our team. We're very inexperienced. We have very few collective experiences together. I think we've been together 3.5 weeks as a group today. So we suffer in some ways in roles and relationships and team building and common experiences, but at the same time we have great depth and we're young. So the battle of attrition is hopefully going to be on our side, but you never know what happens from a day-to-day basis in a tournament with you know, this amount of games in a short period of time. Anything's possible. So we just got to stay in the moment and keep improving, and we're on the right path right now.
Steve, Jermaine Franklin with TSN. You just mentioned the youth and inexperience. How much can a game, or should a game like this tonight, given the environment against the host nation, help this team moving forward, win or lose tonight?
It's a great opportunity for our young guys to play in a true hostile international environment. They're going to grow from it regardless of the result, and you know, they'll learn a lot about themselves tonight. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
Hello, Steve. You've been named the GM of Canada. Andrei Kirilenko recently was named president of the Russian Basketball Federation. Scola is very involved right now with the Argentine Federation. Do you think this is becoming a trend? And do you think being former players helps you even better than guys who have no previous basketball experience in these matters?
Well, I don't think it's a new trend. You know, I think we've seen this probably from the beginning of time as far as basketball goes. It's pretty natural, I think, for ex-players who have been out there and experienced it to be able to share their experiences and help shape a program. There's also, I think, a diplomatic role where it helps to have somebody who people recognize and have seen out there playing for their country. I would never say that a player has more ability to lead his federation than someone else, but there's going to be some obvious advantages from their standpoint.
En español, William, para que se lo traduzcas. Quisiera saber cómo, sin duda que esta generación de jugadores de Canadá ha sido bien importante. ¿Cómo ha hecho Canadá para desarrollar estos jugadores teniendo en cuenta que no tiene una liga profesional tan fuerte, tan conocida? ¿Cómo ha hecho para armar toda esa estructura?
He's asking, given. Oh, Steve actually understand that. You understood?
No,
Okay.
I'd rather make sure.
So how you have this great generation right now? How does Canada basketball develop these kinds of players without having a solid national league or a national, a competition that's consistent?
That's the biggest challenge for our federation is that we don't have a tremendous culture when it comes to our national team. We've always over the years tried to piece it together. Guys coming in from all over the place. Our guys don't traditionally come up playing in clubs in our country or in our system, so it's definitely a different model than the rest of the countries or the majority of countries in international basketball. So, we have to make the most of what we're good at, and we've got a lot of young, talented athletes who are going to play in the NBA, and hopefully their experiences against the best players in the world will allow them to overcome their inexperiences playing in FIBA. So, we do the best we can, and we're fortunate that we got some tremendous players right now, but also great people that are willing to represent their country.
Sí, dijo que es el gran reto que tiene Canadá Basketball ahora. O sea, a lo largo de su historia no ha habido una tradición y una cultura de tener jugadores que se nutren de un sistema propio de país, que vienen todos de otros lados, que ha sido diferente a otro tipo de países que quizás tienen una cultura o una liga nacional, como tú bien mencionas, pero que han tenido mucha suerte en que tienen atletas talentosos que se nutren del sistema de la NBA, obviamente estando tan cerca, y que, pues bueno, a eso él le atribuye, es una generación talentosa, y que Canadá Basketball hace lo mejor que puede para desarrollar ese tipo de generación, y con la suerte que le ha tocado de tener ese tipo de talento en su banco.
Hi, Steve. Speaking or specifically about you, about yourself, how hard or how easy has been for you to make this transition from being a very successful NBA player to now being this new role as GM of Canada Basketball? I mean, has it been hard or easy, or tell us about that?
Well, I think it's been relatively easy because of my role is I don't think is typical of a general manager. We put together a team that can move the program forward. I think that I can give top-level remarks or visions or get involved in the minutia, and basically I'm allowed to play a role that maybe other people can't play in some areas, but in other areas I'm, I think just one of the team, and so it's been something that I think has been fairly fluid because we've got a team of people that are really comfortable together. I played for our head coach. Our assistant GM who runs the program for me was my teammate, and we put a lot of people that we're very comfortable with around us that are extremely qualified. So it's made my job over-glorified and very, doable, so to speak.
Steve, hello, how are you? Here. I'm from Argentina. I know that you went to Buenos Aires some months ago, and you went to the Bombonera Stadium. I want to know something about your trip in my country and what do you feel about Boca Juniors and La Bombonera, first question. And the second, what happens if Canada won't go to the Olympic Games?
Well, for the first question, Buenos Aires is one of my favorite cities. It's an amazing place with an incredible culture and history. So I'm always up for a trip back to Buenos Aires, and it was an incredible experience to go to the Bombonera and see El Super Clásico. It's pretty inexplainable to other people who haven't been there. So it was a really nice highlight of my year. If Canada doesn't qualify for the Olympics, we stay the course. You know, we keep building and we keep growing and we put ourselves in a position to succeed for the World Championship qualifying in 2 years. But you know, we have plans to continue to develop our young players. You know, starting at the age of 12. So that's, you know, a big part of this. It's continuing to develop talent, and hopefully as we continue to sustain that talent level through our age groups, we'll also be able to build a culture with our national team that will eventually succeed.
2 more questions right here in the front.
Eric Corrine, National Post. Things have been going so well over the last 5 games. What makes you most nervous right now?
I mean, the only thing that we are playing against is experience. And you go and you play 1 game to go to the Olympics, anything can happen for the most experienced team. So it's for a precocious team like ours, you never know what'll happen, but it's exciting. I mean, the other thing that I think everyone has to worry about is attrition, which is, I think, less of a concern for us because of our youth and depth, and injuries. And knock on wood that nobody in the whole tournament gets hurt before Friday, but those things are possible too. So, you know, I try not to worry about things I can't control. All I can do is make sure I'm really comfortable courtside and be the best cheerleader I can be.
Steve, you touched on this earlier, but the idea of having common experiences as a team and as a group, maybe just touch on the significance of that and how important it was in the success of your team when you were playing, and where you see these guys on that curve, and how these 2 weeks or 3 weeks fit into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for an anecdote, I think, you know, you look at Miami Heat, LeBron's first year, and they lose to Dallas in the finals. You know, and I felt that going in. You know, you just don't have those common experiences when you look around the room or you look around the floor in a tight 3rd or 4th quarter and know, okay, we've been here before, and you have that common resolve and understanding. But it's the same for our group. We, you know, we hope that we will have accumulated enough to get by if those moments come, and they should come. But they're really, you know, you can't cheat experience. So hopefully we'll play extremely well, and experience won't be as big a factor on the night. You know, maybe we'll be tested in our resolve and toughness and things of that nature more so, and we'll survive.
Okay, so thank you, Steve, for being with us. Thank you for muchas gracias en España.
De nada. Thank you, everybody.